AITA for cutting out one of our couple friends from our lives? Okay, very long story, so bear with me, but basically AITA for cutting off ties with a couple we were really good friends with. So a little background, my husband and I met in 2018. We hit it off immediately and were pretty much inseparable. My husband's best friend at the time, we will call him Tim, would also hang out with us all the time. We loved Tim, he was so much fun to be around. He was a good friend to my husband and I. After a couple months of dating, Tim met his now wife, we will call her Kelly. When my husband and I first met Kelly, we were not sure how we felt about her. She had a very dry sense of humor, and just felt like Kelly and Tim didn't seem 100% right for each other. Tim was just such a nice, a wonderful guy, while Kelly seemed to like to stir the pot a bit. So fast forward, Tim and Kelly had a short breakup stint. Tim had met someone else that was in his class he was very interested in, so tried pursuing that, only for that to end, leaving Tim going back to Kelly. Tim and Kelly then actually seemed to be doing well. We started hanging out with them more and became very close, hanging out all the time. In 2020, my husband proposed to me and I of course said yes. Tim was asked to be the best man of our wedding, of course, and I asked all my bridesmaids to be part of the wedding. Tim sent a message to me asking if I would be asking Kelly to be a bridesmaid. Initially I was not going to, but as I thought more about it, I decided maybe I should, since we had become so close with them. So ended up asking, and she obviously said yes. Very soon after that, Tim actually proposed to Kelly and she said yes, and they immediately asked my husband and I to be in their wedding as well. We were getting married in 2021, they were getting married 2022. So fast forward again to my bachelorette party. All of my bridesmaids were close friends, as well as my sisters and my sister-in-law. Kelly was the only one from the group who didn't know anyone, so I made it a point to ensure she felt comfortable with everyone, and even offered to have her ride down with me for my bachelorette party. This is really where things took a turn for me. On the ride down, my sisters, my sister-in-law, and Kelly were riding together, and legit the entire time, anytime I would talk or say anything, Kelly would act like I was an absolute idiot. Telling me to shut the up, or are you an idiot, little comments like that. I was very thrown off, and so were my sisters. I think she was maybe trying to be funny, but it was not funny at all. I also think maybe she has a bit of social anxiety, so literally was just word vomiting a bit. So even though she was me off, was trying to still give her benefit of the doubt. So when we finally arrived at my bachelorette destination, she is still acting very snarky and sassy towards me, and one of my very good friends pulled me to the side and asked what her problem was. I finally gained the courage to say something to Kelly. She ended up apologizing and said she didn't realize I was hurt by her comments, which to me doesn't make sense, but again trying to give her benefit of doubt since she really didn't know anyone there. So just left it at that. As the weekend went on, she was still a little sassy, but I tried my best to just ignore and have a good time. On the very last night, we went out and had a party bus take us around the town, drank, partied, had a great time. Around 1 a.m., we were at a bar all dancing and having a good time, and I notice Kelly is all over a man at the bar. They end up dancing together and my friends witness her and this guy making out, kissing on the dance floor. I did not witness this with my own eyes, but my friends would not just lie about this, they have no reason to. Kelly then came running over to me crying, saying that this guy kissed her and that she didn't want Tim to find out. I was in a sticky spot because I absolutely loved Tim and felt bad for him, but also did not want to stir the pot or get involved in that relationship. I told Kelly she should be honest with Tim about this. Even today, I am not sure if she ever even told Tim about it, but feel it's not my place to intervene. So fast forward to our wedding day, everything was perfect, both Kelly and Tim were part of our big day and helped set up, help with anything we needed day of, etc. We really appreciated having them. A couple of months after the wedding, my husband and I found out we were pregnant. We were definitely not trying, but obviously overjoyed by the fact we would be able to start our family. The only thing was, when we did our ultrasound and found out how far along we were, we realized my due date was literally the day of Kelly and Tim's wedding. We were upset because we were actually looking forward to being a part of Kelly and Tim's big day, but this really threw a little bit of a wrench into the situation. We ended up reaching out to Tim and Kelly to say that because our due date was the same time as the wedding, we didn't think we could commit to being in their wedding. We told them we would still love to attend things and be part of anything we could be up until we had our sweet baby, and initially they seemed to understand, or so I thought. Tim couldn't understand why my husband couldn't be part of the wedding and do all the things, so my husband explained that he wanted to make sure he was there with me through my pregnancy, but would attend as much as he could up until that point. Tim was upset since my husband was to be the best man, but I feel he is being selfish, not understanding where my husband and I are coming from. There was a bridal brunch that Kelly had invited me to at a mimosa spot. She asked if I wanted to attend. The kicker was my husband and I had just come back from a trip literally that morning, so I was already exhausted from being pregnant, traveling, and honestly just wanted to be home, so let her know I wouldn't be able to go. This made Kelly very upset, I believe, because she didn't text or reach back out. The next event was her bridal shower, which I made sure to attend since I felt bad for not going to her bridal brunch. At her bridal shower, I could tell she wanted nothing to do with me. I walked up and told her how beautiful she looked and she said, "Oh thanks," and kind of turned away. So I asked, "So what's the seating situation?" And she goes, "Oh well, bridesmaids are up here with me, but you can sit anywhere else." This really threw me off because I was like, wow, I made sure to make you feel welcomed around my group of friends during all of my bridal things, but you are kind of pushing me out. So I sat at the back of the room very emotional at this point because I am pregnant and just self-conscious. I look over and her and all the bridesmaids keep stealing glances back at me like they are talking about me. So when I went to leave and say goodbye, she pretty much tried to avoid me and didn't want to say anything. I left and immediately called my husband crying. I didn't understand why she had been treating me like that. My husband never liked Kelly throughout the entire relationship, so just encouraged me to do what I needed to for my own mental health. I decided at that point I was over trying to be friends with her if she was going to treat me like I was nothing. I went on Instagram and actually checked to see if she was still following me, and she had actually unfollowed me as well. So I was like fine and unfollowed her on Instagram and unfriended on Facebook. Looking back, should have probably just sent her a message, but after all the build up with her and just everything, I was kind of over being her friend. She ended up texting me a few weeks later and asked why I had removed her on everything, so I said I noticed that she unfollowed me first and decided that we didn't want to have any drama or people in our lives that cause any emotional stress, especially being pregnant. She said that she felt it was not fair that her and Tim were part of everything for my husband and I's wedding and didn't understand why we weren't making it a point to be there for them like they were for us. I couldn't understand why she didn't understand that I was pregnant and dealing with all the emotions of my pregnancy as well as other things going on in my personal life. I am sorry, but their wedding was the last thing I was thinking about at that point in my life. So we stopped communicating. Kelly and I stopped communication altogether, as well as my husband and Tim stopping communication altogether. Fast forward, now it is 2024 and my husband and I are absolutely in love with our almost 2-year-old baby. Having her in our life is amazing. We have been thinking about our friendships and really miss having Tim as a friend. I felt so guilty because I felt like it was my fault that Tim and my husband weren't friends anymore. So I ended up texting Kelly and just apologized for not giving my reasoning for cutting them out of our life and not being there at their wedding like they were for our wedding. And she still is mad about it. She says she thinks her and Tim were treated unfairly by us and still doesn't understand why we cut them out, and said she isn't sure if they can forgive us. I honestly was shocked, because I feel like they owe us the apology for making us feel bad for being pregnant while they were getting married. It all makes no sense, but maybe I am just not getting their perspective. My husband even texted Tim recently and Tim said he appreciated the apology for my husband ghosting him, but didn't think he could ever be friends with my husband after we cut them out. I guess I just want an outsider's perspective. If you have read through all of this, thank you so much. So, AITA for cutting out one of our couple friends from our lives? How would you proceed in this situation? I feel bad that my husband lost his best friend and wish there was a way to fix this for his sake. I know he really misses Tim, but Tim is just cold to him or ignores him completely. Edit. For more context on my husband and Tim was upset with us for not attending the wedding as well, and specifically couldn't understand why my husband couldn't be there for him. The week of Tim's bachelor party was a couple weeks before my due date. I would have been 36 weeks along, so my husband didn't feel comfortable leaving me in case I delivered early. I ended up having my baby at 37 weeks, so wasn't far off, so Tim was mad that my husband couldn't do the bachelor party or the wedding just with the unknowns of the baby being born.